So I'm Nick, he's Joshua. We're the founders of Feed, which is a platform we built for musicians, their teams, and other types of creators to grow their business. And we've been working on it for about 18 months. We've had thousands of people signing up to test it out.
Basically, the idea is that it will automate Facebook and Instagram advertising so that it actually works if you have a small budget. The idea is that it'll do everything automatically, so it'll discover new audiences, keep your existing audience engaged, and also grow income through things like ticket sales or merchandise.
Listening to Imogen Thackeray's latest album, which is called Yellow. It's kind of really upbeat and dancey, but also quite a clever record. So yeah, that's what I'm enjoying at the moment.
I feel like I'm listening to a lot of stuff that I was into when I was 15, but I feel a bit stuck in that phase. But I am listening to a few new things that have come out recently, like Pat Metheny, Natalie Bergman's album, and I feel like I've been caught up in the kind of Kanye West Donda furore, which I'm desperate to listen to at some point whenever he graces us.
Yes, I'm actually going to see Imogen Thackeray at We Out Here this weekend, so I'm excited about that. It's good for the soul to get back to gigs.
On the other hand, I'm still quite COVID cautious, so haven't gone to any gigs. Although Mammal Hands are playing at the end of September, which maybe I'll build up the courage to go to.
Yeah, it was really weird trying to launch a product in the middle of a pandemic. I think musicians especially found it really hard, and given they lost their main source of income through ticket sales, that was definitely a challenge.
Yeah, that said, it did sort of accelerate lots of things, like the importance of where your online presence, but also being able to generate income in other ways apart from tickets. So Feed fits quite nicely into that. So my background is digital within independent labels, so I was at Warp and Transgressive before doing this. I'm working with all kinds of different artists. And part of being involved in digital record labels, you kind of get to do lots of different things. So I kind of learned to be a designer, learned a bit of develop like coding, and for a number of years was thinking about how I could, what could be built to help artists and creators, and that eventually led to starting Feed.
Yeah, my background's a little bit more convoluted, but I started out as a musician, kind of went into the investment world for 5-6 years, but wanted to get back out of that. So got back into music and kind of management and projects, and then I'd known Joshua for ages. We started working together on a record label, which then turned into a research project for Feed, which then turned into Feed. So that's the kind of weird path to where we are now. I mean, we would say that it's important, but I do think it is important because I guess the alternative is you have to hire someone else to do it, whether that's a freelancer or a digital agency, which is expensive and seems kind of ridiculous in 2021 that managers and musicians shouldn't have the tools to do it themselves. So yeah, I think it's really important, and that's why we built Feed, really. So we believe that you don't actually need to spend a lot of money to make a big impact with digital advertising. And I guess the gap that we saw is there's a bunch of tools for you if you have a big budget, but if you've got a small budget and you're spending like a few pounds a day, that really didn't seem to be much that actually helps you run effective digital ads. So we created this as a growth tool specifically for small budgets. And literally starting at £3 a day can make a big impact. You know, over the course of a week, you're still reaching thousands of potential fans. So what we say to people is, even if the budgets are literally £3 a day, it's better to do that than nothing.
Yeah, that is a big question. I feel like there are so many variables at play, and it's not just the pandemic, but kind of Brexit has been completed, whatever that means, at the same time. So there's loads of things going on that are obviously going to affect the music industry. But what I find kind of particularly fascinating is how everyone involved is actually adapting incredibly quickly. So the major labels are focusing on catalog in a way that I don't think they've done before. Management companies are starting to behave more like labels, and individual musicians are kind of looking at the economics of streaming and thinking about, well, maybe there's other ways of generating revenue that make more business sense. So that's all really exciting. Tech, I'm sure, will thrive. Obviously, the way people work, where they live, just kind of mitigating against a future pandemic, all of those things will require lots of innovation, and that's what the tech world likes to do. And then advertising is going to be affected by these things, but also just kind of a post-cookie landscape, as they say, and shifts in privacy laws and iOS 14 and changes Apple are making. So all of those things create a really kind of interesting conversation between privacy, but also advertising that's actually a useful service. So if there's less information for targeting, that kind of, I think, plays into the hands of bigger companies who can afford to kind of spray and pray, and whereas smaller businesses need something more targeted so that they can make the most out of their budgets. And I think that's a kind of conversation and a balance that we're keen to be part of. Just sign up and use it.
Yeah. Head to tryfeed.co, sign up, and we'll be in touch to offer a demo. We can speak to you, show you the platform, and we're definitely looking for more people to test it out and give us feedback.